Hey everybody, Mr. Royans here, and yesterday I asked you to watch a video that had a Rube Goldberg machine in it, and it was just something to get your creative juices flowing. Whoa. Because I wanted you to see real quick what a Rube Goldberg machine was, so you had a little bit of an idea as we go forward with talking about our Rube Goldberg machine and our kind of final science project here. So a Rube Goldberg machine is a machine that does a simple task in an overly complicated way. Okay? A machine that does a complicated task, or does a simple task in a complicated way. Think about what you watched in that video yesterday. They were basically, it was this long 3-minute machine to spray these dudes with paint. That was the ultimate purpose of that machine. And went through all that silly stuff. And it was amazing. It's fun. But where does a Rube Goldberg come from? Well, Rube was a dude who was born in 1883 and he died in 1970, who was a Pulitzer Prize winning cartoonist. And he was best known for his zany cartoon invention cartoons. He was born in San Francisco on the 4th of July. And he graduated from the University of Cal Berkeley with a degree in engineering. He got his first job at the San Francisco Chronicle that led to early success, but it wasn't until he moved to New York City and began working for Hearst Publications that he became a household name. Rube Goldberg is the only person to be listed in the Merriam-Webster dictionary as an adjective. Fascinating, huh? He's the only person ever to be listed in the Merriam-Webster dictionary as an adjective. It's estimated that he did about, 50,000 cartoons in his lifetime. Now, a Rube Goldberg machine, like I said, is a comically involved, complicated invention, laboriously contrived to perform a simple operation. That's the Webster's New World Dictionary definition. Humor and narrative are what separate a Rube Goldberg machine from a chain reaction machine. And each of his cartoons, when he would draw them, would tell a story. His entire goal was to get you to laugh. Just look at this drawing here and how ludicrous it is. It starts with he pulls a spoon. Let me see. It's got a good diagram here. Let me pull up. He pulls a spoon, which pulls that. When he does that, it goes to C, and it flings that up there. The bird eats, which makes that go there, lightens it up, or fills that bucket up. The bucket pulls down, which pulls this string, which lights a match, which lights the firework off, which makes the scythe cut the rope, which lets go of this thing to wipe this dude's mouth off. He could just pick up a napkin and do that. That is the silliness that is a Rube Goldberg machine. But the way a Rube Goldberg machine works for us, or comes into play for us, is that it involves the use of the 6 simple machines. Okay? And what were the 6 simple machines? Well, a lever, a pulley, the wheel and axle, incline plane, screw, and the wedge. But what's the purpose of the simple machines? Well, simple machines make work easier. Okay? And we looked at examples of those and we talked about them. So I just want to do a little review here. Okay? Simple machines make work easier. I'll put make there, sorry. All right? That's all there is to it. The first simple machine I want to talk about is the lever, okay? And the lever was something that you came across in your house for what? Well, in my case, I showed you guys the crowbar. But the lever is used to move stuff, right? If I have a heavy box, let's say 500 pounds. I want to move it with a lever. If I have a lever, say it's a long stick, and I have myself here, where do I want to... I can't just push it like that. I need to have what's called a fulcrum. Fulcrum. And the force I exert is how hard or how much the object will move. But where I put the fulcrum will help how much I'm able to move something. So I'm over here. I'm sweating hard because I'm trying to push this 500-pound object away. I've got my fulcrum. The more force I apply here is how easy or hard it is, or how hard the load moves. What you're moving is your load. The fulcrum is this kind of center point. It's where everything balances on. The closer I have a fulcrum, the easier it is to move an object when it's closer. Fulcrum closer equals easier to move. Okay. So if I have the fulcrum over here, it's going to be a little harder to move it. I'm going to have to apply more force. But if I have the fulcrum here, it's going to be easier to move it. So remember, a lever is for moving objects. Remember, I had a crowbar in my example, and I used the crowbar, and the closer I was to it, the more force I put, I pulled a hammer or a nail out. A pulley, okay? What was a pulley? Do you guys remember? It's easier to lift an object with the use of a pulley, right? Think about my example I had where I had my guy with his arms up trying to lift a load. I've got my 500-pound box here. That's my go-to weight, apparently. 500 pounds. I can't lift 500 pounds. But if I have a pulley, remember, pulley's the circular object. It's got a rope, goes around it, attached to the object. The more force I apply, I can pull the load up. It is much easier to lift an object with the use of a pulley. You can have multiple pulleys. So I could have a person down here lifting, and there's a rope here. Let's say I have one pulley there, 2 and 3. I could have it threaded like this, and it would make it even easier. Let's do 1,000 pounds here. Okay. A pulley it makes things easier to lift. Wheel and axle. I think this one is pretty self-explanatory. It is easier to move things. You have to put less force. If I have, let's go to my old standby, 500-pound box, and I'm trying to push it on a flat surface. I can't move that on a flat surface like that. But if I have wheels and axles, I wanted to actually make him smiling. If I have wheels and axles, I'm pushing that 500 pounds. Let's say I have a set of logs I can roll it on. If I have 500 pounds, I don't have to put all that force into pushing my load. It's so much easier to just push it on the wheels. Think of a car without wheels. That's not going anywhere. But the wheels certainly make it easier to move a car, right? you just have to know the distance that would be traveled if you didn't have wheels. Incline plane, I think that one is pretty self-explanatory, but you need to think about it takes more work to move up an object or move an object up some stairs than it would an incline plane. So if I have an incline plane, if I'm pushing my boulder up a set of stairs, that's a lot of force there, huh? But if I have an incline plane, that's so much easier to push something. Even if it's a square box, it's easier to push it up the slant than it is to carry it up a set of stairs. Now, one thing about an incline plane is the steeper an incline plane, the more force or the more work, force and work are interchangeable here, the more work it would be to push something up. So if I am pushing an object up here, that's a lot of work. So that's more work up a steep slope. Steeper incline plane. Okay. So the steeper the incline plane, the more work it's going to be to push it up there. Screw is one of those interesting ones because it's something that can either hold stuff together or it makes things easier to kind of carry up. If I put a screw in some wood, my plank wood here, I've got my screw. I can't draw a good screw, I guess. I didn't think about that. I think about my... There we go. The screw, if I put it in there, it's going to hold, I'm going to pull these two pieces of wood together. And pull them together, nice and easy like. Now, one thing we also want to think about is a screw as, I'm actually going to move this out of the way because I want to talk about one of the other uses of a screw. Think about a mountain. Let's say this is my mountain. If I wanted to make an inclined plane to get up to the top of that mountain, here's my car. Okay, here's my car. I know, guys, my art skills are wonderful. Don't be jealous. Okay. I would have to have a very gradual, long bridge, right? But if I have an inclined plane, I could have... You know what? I'm going to actually add another slide here. Oh, why can't I make another slide? Oh, well. I'm just going to call this screw continued. If I have an inclined plane for my mountain, if my car is right here, terrible car. I can go right here, and I have my incline plane, my road that's winding around the mountain. So the car goes. Now you gotta imagine it winding around the mountain till it's getting up to the top. Okay, that's another example of a screw. It's an inclined plane around the object. And then last but not least, the wedge. And the wedge is, remember, it's like a pair of scissors, basically. Something that just comes down and can split something in half. Kind of looks like this. Kind of like two inclined planes put together. Think of an axe head. Okay? It's breaking, me cutting some wood there. Is breaking that apart, okay? It's something that splits things apart. Or if you think of a doorstop, like I said, if you watch my mini lesson, if you have your doorstop here, you can't open it, so it's holding things, it's stopping things from happening, right? So doorstop. So that's just a little review of the 6 simple machines. What I want you to do now is I want you to think about making a Rube Goldberg machine. You're going to brainstorm. All right? And remember, there's no such thing as a bad idea while brainstorming. You're going to brainstorm the following. What will my Rube Goldberg machine do? Okay. Will it turn off a light? Wipe your face? Turn on a light? Etc. It can be as easy or complicated as you want. All right? I don't want you to get super crazy, but I want you to be creative. You're going to think about, what will my Rube Goldberg machine do? What kind of simple machines? What simple machines will you need to use? You're going to have to use all the simple machines. But what form of the simple machine will I use? What form of the simple machines will you use? So what kind of lever are you going to use? Is it going to be a crowbar or a hammer that turns and hits something? And then finally, what room of the house will you do it in? Because you're going to brainstorm, and then tomorrow's activity is we're going to be planning a Rube Goldberg machine together. Okay? You are going to plan how your Rube Goldberg machine will work, and what room of the house will you do it in? So is it going to be your bedroom? Is it going to be the living room, basement? All right, and you're just going to submit your brainstorm ideas for a little science credit. It's going to be a little participation grade. I want to see your ideas. What are you going to do? What will your Rube Goldberg machine do? Brainstorm that. What form of the simple machine? What do you think you're going to need to achieve your goal? What will you need? And then what room of the house is it going to be in? Okay? And then tomorrow we're going to start planning how the Rube Goldberg machine might look as we get ready to start creating it. We'll probably draw it out, make some plans, all right?